Good afternoon. This is Animal Uncontrol. Welcome to MuttHeads. Today's topic is a summation, really, of my last two videos covering service dogs and service dog fraud and how the federal government has totally screwed us via the ADA service dog provision. So, what is the problem? If we could sum it up in a few minutes, what is wrong here? Okay, why is this service animal provision such a fail? Okay, what it does is literally it empowers dog people to take their dog everywhere, anywhere the public is allowed, counter to local, state, health, safety laws, because for municipalities and state governments, basically all of them, have for a long time restricted animals in any establishment that sells or serves food, and also maybe in other places where a pet might offer, a health hazard or a safety hazard, such as a trip hazard. I'm also working with Chef Mutt on some narration that really goes into a really deep dive on how sort of toxic dogs are, particularly in crowded public spaces. So what happened was, so the feds came in, via this federal law. They came in and they usurped all the rules set by all these states and municipalities that said no animals in places that sell or serve food, among other things. And in doing so, they also, this is just part of it, they also usurped the rights of proprietors and public to a dog-free space. And I want to pause here for a minute because people, hear me and perhaps others refer to the dog cult. What dog cult or what cult are you referring to? Now, the dog cult is really, it's two things. It's a proselytizing religion and it's a political movement. I've referred to political dogism a few times. So one of their political goals, is essentially to inject dogs into everything. They want us to be one nation under dog. It's a nation of dogs, a nation by dogs, and a nation for dogs. They want everything to be about dogs. They want dogs everywhere. They want dogs injected into every aspect of public and private life. It's a militant, authoritarian ideology. They want to foist it on everybody. So the thing is, I believe I have a right to, here I wrote dog-free dining experience, any dog-free experience. I got super pissed at the beach a couple of weeks ago because, you know what, I guess I'm used to it's like seeing dogs in most places, but I know that, the state had banned dogs, at least in state beaches. County beaches and private beaches can have different rules, but the state of Florida said no pets on our beaches. No. But then the feds came in and said, yes, dogs on your beaches. Screw you, Florida. So, but that's why I was so pissed, is they're anywhere we can go where there aren't dogs everywhere. Is there can any place on earth be dog free? And the answer, according to dog people, is no. You are going to associate with dogs whether you like it or not. Everyone is going to be made a dog person. You can choose on your own or it will be imposed upon you. And I've made the point, all of this is very heavy-handed. And I also believe it's of dubious constitutionality. Dog nutters love to raise the Constitution when you want to say ban pit bulls or some other nasty ass dog breed. They're oh, that's unconstitutional. The retort to that is that, well, it used to be that state and local governments impose those regulations all the time, as we've seen here. However, I think that these, provisions, okay, these provisions have dubious constitutionality. For one thing, they basically assert home rule, like a 10th Amendment. They say, okay, if you're a state that says no dogs on the beach, we're going to assert that and say you're allowing dogs on the beach, whether you like it or not. That is of dubious constitutionality. The other thing they do is they say it also is a breach of association rights and property rights. So say you're a proprietor of a restaurant and you want to offer dog-free space. Thanks to the ADA, you are now no longer allowed to do that. You must accommodate dogs or else. Peons. Even when you have your city and your state behind you. So the state says no mutts, the city says no mutts, the proprietor says no mutts, but the feds came in and usurped all that and said, yes, mutts. Yes, mutts. Okay? And the worst problem with this is that the feds bestowed all this power upon dog owners with no oversight. If we go back to this, and I've made this point before, but it's worth making again, staff cannot ask about the person's disability, require medical documentation, require a special identification card or training documentation for the dog. So literally, service dogs are certified by the dog owner. Interestingly, a lot of places are trying to crack down on this. And I'm like, crack down how? All they got to say are the magic words and they're good to go. Why not just change this to say, you know what? Anytime a dog owner says abracadabra, they can do whatever they want. The dog can take a shit on the White House lawn and it's all good. Okay, so all this was done with no oversight. And this is part of the doggy double standard because there's lots of protection for this thing, but very little from it. That's sort of the meta problem or the, overarching issue here. This is just part of it. So what could we change about this? I mean, I've also raised the point multiple times that really the legit service dog people, the half dozen or so, need to lead the charge on this for a couple of reasons. One is they're the ones who really are most outraged about this. They say, yeah, these fakers are, ruining our reputation and even putting us in danger with like fake service pits and the like. But the thing is that they will not do anything to solve the problem. Okay, they should be out in front asking for changes here. But like typical dog people, they don't actually want to do anything. They say, yeah, as dog people, we should never have to lift a finger or spend a dime. Even the, sort of the cursory inconvenience of maybe getting a hard card, service dog ID for their mutt. Oh, that's too much. You can't ask them to do that. That's fascism. So nothing changes. Now, the other thing we can do is, right, like if they were to do that, that would make a lot of people happy, including me. But they refuse to do anything. So really, I'm of the mindset now that this whole thing needs to be voided. We don't need new laws. We actually need one less law. In other words, this needs to be vacated. We need to pull the rug out from all of them and let the power go back to essentially the people, the state and local governments, and the individual proprietors. Let them sort it out. And you know what? If like California wants to allow dogs everywhere, fine, I just won't go there. But the problem is this was imposed on everybody in the United States. That's the problem. I would like to segue into some of the, fake service dog issues I've encountered in the last few weeks. I shared some of this in my last video, and this is what made my head explode at the beach a few weeks ago. So this was the first fake service dog I saw. So, this is a borderline case, I guess. Somebody could argue like maybe he's doing something useful for her. Let me zoom in on that a little more. Well, zoom out. Okay. Maybe he's doing something for her. This was a dog, he literally dragged her onto the beach. I saw her enter the park. They went right past a big sign that said no dogs. Okay. So really, it definitely stretches credibility to say that this is a legit service dog scenario. But, they'll argue, oh, she could not have gone to the beach without him. It's impossible. Let's take a look at the next one. And this one is a really good one. And I didn't get a good photo of this. I tried to document this covertly, although I think this guy knew what I was doing. So we zoom in a little bit more. Okay. This is fake service dog number 2. Okay. So what do we have here? Okay. This is can you see this arrow? Because what I did was I was panning with my camera phone. So this was actually lifted from a still. So, the resolution's not too good, but there's an interesting scenario. See this, you've got the arrow here pointing at the dog is in like a tent. People bring these tents to, shelter from the sun. So this dog is in this tent. And just prior to this, I'd seen him basically frolicking in the waves with the dog, no leash on him. So now they're back, they're drying off. Fido is in this tent and he's sitting. It looks closer. He's about maybe 5 or 6 feet away. So clearly this dog is doing nothing for him. Nothing. There is no way this is a legit service dog. None. But what's interesting was the guy sort of knew that I was documenting him. He just kind of got a feeling about me. And you can't see it because the resolution is so poor, but he's giving me a look, kind of like this smug, self-satisfied look, the proverbial shit-eating grin. And he's looking at me because obviously he knows he's abusing the rules. I know he's abusing the rules, and he knows that I know that he's abusing the rules, and he knows that I know that he knows that I know that he's abusing the rules. So basically, he's kind of giving me this smirk, like, what are you going to do about it, pal? Said the magic words. That was another. So the next day, I went grocery shopping, and I saw this. This woman was grocery shopping. Here they are, she and Fido. So you get the arrow here. See, she's holding this little mop dog. And those things, I don't know why people think those things are cute. They're gross. It looks like it was used to mop out a septic tank or something. They're disgusting. But anyway, she's grocery shopping with her Mutt. I guess maybe she was blind and Fido was reading the labels on the hot dogs. She was not handicapped in any, at least not in an obvious way. Some people would argue that this is a medical alert dog. In other words, the dog is warning her of, say, an impending seizure, perhaps. I'm very dubious as to that. I think that the medical science there is probably sketchy at best. I'm not really qualified to comment on it, but I'm thinking, would you trust a dog with your health care? So anyway, so they're viewing this, and you know what? I didn't even bother trying to report it. I didn't even bother because you're just going to say service dog again. All they got to say are the magic words. And they're good to go. Because of this. Because, again, the federal government has screwed us on this. So I just basically, I took a photo and I said, I'm not going to tell the staff. I'm not even going to report it to the local health department because the thing is, this is essentially a 2-tier legal scenario. These people get to do whatever they want. with no consequences. Now, as an interesting follow-up to this, I didn't actually document this, but I was in the same store about a week later. This is about a week ago. And I'm going down the aisle, and I caught like a really good whiff of dog piss. So I'm looking around, and there's no puddle on the floor. So my assumption was that a dog peed on the floor. You know, a quote, service dog, pissed on the floor. You know, they mopped it up, but some of the piss went underneath the shelf. They didn't get it all. They would have had to have either moved the shelf or partially dismantled it to clean it fully, and they didn't do that. And of course, people are saying, like, oh, why do you keep shopping there? And the problem is they do this everywhere. There's nowhere you can go to escape this. None. Where do I go instead of here? Target? Or Walmart? They should call Walmart like Dog Mart. It's literally like infested with dogs. It's insane. So wrapping it all up, what needs to change? This needs to be, revised or just vacated. We don't need more laws. Well, we need more laws. I'm not saying this is like a strictly like a dereg scenario, but here, this needs to go. This needs to go. And I'll bet you know what? If something like this actually went to the Supreme Court, they might, vacate this or overturn it because, again, this violates, people's basic rights. I mean, where in the Constitution does it say that I have to, associate with dogs everywhere? You can't even escape dogs in your own home. They say, why don't you just stay home? Yeah, what do you hear when I'm at home all the time? Dogs barking. You are never free of the presence of dogs anywhere. And that needs to change. This is Animal Uncontrol. And as always, people first.